My dad's girlfriend was everyone's wife, so I made her nobody's bride. My dad started dating Tiffany 2 months after his divorce papers were signed, and I don't mean that in the moving on too fast way. I mean it in the she was probably tracking our family's net worth during the proceedings way. She's 25, calls him daddy in public, and showed up to their first date with a Pinterest board titled Dream Home Ideas. Dad's 53, fresh off a gray divorce, and apparently thinks his receding hairline is sexy now because a girl young enough to be his daughter says so. She got pregnant within 6 weeks, showed us the ultrasound at dinner like it was a winning lottery ticket. 3 months in, she convinced dad to add her to the deed of his lake house because stress isn't good for the baby. By month 4, she had him liquidating my college fund for her pregnancy wellness retreats in Hawaii while posting bikini shots the whole time. Another month later, she had dad co-sign on a Range Rover because the baby needs a safe car. Then she gave that car to her cousin who used it for nothing but driving to clubs. She even demanded my dead mother's jewelry for when the baby comes, calling it family heirlooms that should stay with the baby's mother. And my dad never said no. He handed over everything we had because he thought love meant sabotaging your own kids to please your new wife. The breaking point came when I was helping dad with his taxes. I found a marriage certificate in Tiffany's paperwork dated 2 years ago with another husband's name. Tiffany had been somebody else's wife this entire time, carrying my father's baby while married to another man. When I showed it to dad, she broke down sobbing about how her real husband was abusive and she couldn't get divorced while pregnant. Then she said she needed dad to pay for her divorce lawyer. Dad wrote the check immediately. She smiled at me over his shoulder. That's when I realized Tiffany wasn't just some young opportunist who got lucky with a lonely divorced man. She was a professional. But if she thought she could bulldoze through our family's assets while committing bigamy, she was about to learn what happens when you mess with the wrong person. During the next few days, I pulled up the courthouse records from her marriage certificate. 3 active marriages, no divorces filed. The first one was Dimitri, who she married in 2019. He had reported her missing 8 months ago and thought she'd been kidnapped. When I called him and explained, he gave me a gem and said that Tiffany couldn't even have children, so her being pregnant was fake. Her second husband before dad was Clarence, married in 2021. His story was worse. She vanished after losing their baby at 7 months, along with his mother's life insurance payout. When I invited them both to game night, they drove through the night to get here. Tiffany wanted to play the perfect wife. Time for a full house. On the day of the game night, Tiffany lounged on our couch, with her fake 6-month bump prominent under mom's cashmere cardigan. She was complaining about sore ankles and setting up the Monopoly table. Then the doorbell rang and I opened the door, letting the 2 guys in. Tiffany glanced up from the game board, annoyed at first, but then recognized the 2 men and her annoyance turned into shock. Wait, she tried explaining, but Dimitri was already crying. 8 months, Tiff. I thought you were dead for 8 months. Dad looked confused, so I explained, these 2 are her husbands, both of them. He just blanked out and started staring into space. Then Clarence opened his folder and showed the medical records to my dad, which had her listed as infertile. Tiffany jumped up with her hands on her belly and screamed, this is different. My baby is real this time. But the sudden movement had dislodged her padding. The baby bump shifted sideways and slid down from under the cardigan. She grabbed at it frantically, but the prosthetic belly tumbled out, landing at Dad's feet with a dull thud. Everyone stared at the foam pregnancy suit. Tiffany realized her little hustle was out in the open, so she ran to the basement stairs and jumped. She tumbled down and hit her head on every stair before screaming in pain. You pushed me on purpose. I will have you arrested for this. Little did she know, I had my phone out the entire time. Dimitri and Clarence left, Dad packed her bags, and I delivered the video to the cops when they came to arrest her. She risked her life by jumping down the stairs, and all she got for it was a hospital bill and 8 years for fraud. My dad still ended up with a lot of trauma and flinches whenever he sees a pregnant woman on the road. But at least he's apologized to me and is working on giving back everything Tiffany took from us.